When analyzing art, I feel like it's natural to take it to a personal place from the analyzer. I believe it doesn't matter what the author intended, most art has the potential to speak to anyone of any background. This is especially true for neurodivergent and queer people such as myself, who like to relate their experiences of characters who were never intended or confirmed as such. One of the earliest examples I can think of is when I watched Power Rangers RPM. The character of Ziggy, the Green Ranger of the season, reminded me a lot of myself. A silly screwball with a brave heart, Ziggy was one of the most relatable characters I'd seen on the show, to the point where I thought he had autism because I had autism. That wasn't what the producers or actors intended, of course, but I find that making these silly real-life connections to fictional characters can help you better connect to who have a text of a work, and is just fun to do in general. Even if a character lacks traits, identity, or even morality compared to the real person watching them, that character can still speak to that person and more. So what if someone was influenced by this connection to a fictional character and decided to put their own stamp on them in a personal way, even if it's legally dubious? The People's Joker is a low-budget queer coming-of-age parody film that made waves on the film festival scene in 2022, not just based on its quality, but based on the premise and controversy surrounding it. The film's subject of parody is DC Comics, specifically the Batman side of the universe, which led to some problems with getting the film a commercial release by the holders of the IP, Warner Brothers. Ultimately, the film did come out in both theaters and home media for the world to see, and it received critical acclaim for its authentic replication of the various messy aspects of the trans film experience and how it creatively used the DC Comics mythos to comment on that experience. It comes from a very personal place from the director and main star of the film, Vera Drew, who took a silly re-edit project and turned it into its own unique, marvelous movie that she could call her own. As for what I think of the movie, I have some opinions. I guess I should give some background on myself to clear my ass in the off chance anyone takes this analysis in bad faith. I am gender fluid, which qualifies under the trans umbrella, so this does not come from a place of bigotry or hate. In fact, I still have a lot of nice things to say about the movie despite my mixed feelings. I also enjoy parody films such as Spaceballs, and I love low-budget films like Hundreds of Beavers or Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. Hell, I'm in the belief that more films need smaller budgets. I'm all about saving costs and getting creative with your limited toolkit. So it's not the idea of the film that makes me have opinions, it's all in the execution. I guess we could start about these wacky visuals first. The film not only uses a lot of actors on funny green screen, but surreal CGI, stop motion, 2D animation, and even action figures to present its story. Many have compared the way this movie looks to a silly YouTube video, or even, God forbid, the Channel Awesome Anniversary movies like Kick-Assia, and I see where they're coming from, but I admittedly think The People's Joker is more creative about how it uses its multimedia aspects compared to those other two examples. Still, the film could straight up look like punk-colored vomit at times based on the art direction of Gotham, and while intentional, it's not always my vibe. Not helping the YouTube production value allegations is the pacing. This movie is very fast and breakneck with the speed of its events, which I don't mind usually, but at times it goes so fast I think the film forgets to properly set up plot elements for later. This film's pacing even extends to how quick the dialogue scenes are in the movie. It doesn't feel like the characters are having natural conversations a lot of the time, as the film snaps between one character's monologue to another, cutting any and all sense of dead air to keep the pace moving, even during dramatic scenes. The editing reminds me of a man carrying things sketch video, which hey, I enjoy those videos, but when you're watching that style for nearly 2 hours of a narrative feature instead of 40 seconds of quick bits, it can get tiring. As for the scripting, it leans on the self-aware meme side, not just with the fourth wall breaks, but with the tongue-in-cheek references explaining what a character is doing in detail or just mentioning other media that does similar things. Yes, it's a satirical comedy movie, so it's not the worst thing ever to try that style, but I just didn't like how it was done here. It felt like I was being talked down to about how great the movie is and about how cool it is instead of letting the story and characters speak for themselves. Also, this is the most subjective critique of the video, but the character of Batman in this movie, I just didn't like how it was handled. I get that with a parody film, especially one focused on the villains, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the source material, and that changes will be made for comedic effect, but maybe it's just me being a sourpuss, but I don't think making Batman a pedophile who's dating Jason Todd was a good change, and it's where the film started to lose me. It just plays into all the bad faith takes about the Batman character, like beating up poor people and being a rich egomaniac. It's all things you've heard try-hard critics on social media echo, and it's weird that a film as self-aware and online as this didn't even try to comment on those takes for even a second. It just played those toxic traits completely straight. And yes, I know about that Batgirl scene in that awful Killing Joke movie, but that's a stupid movie that everyone wants to forget anyway. Man, I wish I liked The People's Joker more than I did. There's some funny bits here, especially if this film's take on the Penguin, coupled with some solid messages and commentary about how the entertainment industry treat not white men, and the complications of relationships, both romantic and platonic, but the ridiculous pacing and the on-the-nose irreverent tone didn't work for me as much as I'd like to. Also, the movie just kind of devolves into madness by the end, and not even like fun madness, just kind of like, what the hell am I watching madness? However, with all that said, I'm glad it got made, and more than ever, this needs to exist. With trans people's existence in more danger all over the world thanks to hateful people getting more power and deeming us a political issue just for existing, we all need to band together and get loud. As for the members of the community that are creators, we need to fight for our rights to see ourselves represented in the media no matter what the bigots say. It's gonna be rough, as seen with Disney seemingly already shelving an episode of Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur as lost media because its plotline revolved around a trans character, so we can't just fight for corporate art to represent us, we need to make our own weird, independent, messy art that represents us. Even if this asshole doesn't like what you made, it doesn't matter. You made it, and it brings you and others joy. When you think about it, it's miraculous any art can exist at all, and existence is not a crime. It's rebellion.